podcast of Quiérete. I'm your host, Anna, and today we have a special guest. It's one of my longer term friends, I think, in comparison to anybody that I've had on this podcast. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. Maybe you can tell them who you are, your name, and maybe how we met, too.
Hello, everybody. My name is Octavio Vargas. I've known Ana since
20 years.
2012, I believe, is when we first
I
met.
think it's 12 or 13.
Yeah, somewhere around
Yeah.
there. We met each other working together for the Greenfield Union School District. At the time, I was a sub, and so we were doing no. At the time,
At
it was
that
called
time, cell
CELT.
testing.
So we were cell testing. So yeah, we've
Yeah.
known each other for, I want to say it's 2012.
Yeah, so it's been like 13, 2025, like 13 years.
Yeah,
So it's
cool.
been a long time.
It's a good
I know a lot of things about him. I have a lot of scoop on him. Yeah, some good memories. But
Yeah.
so today's episode, we're gonna focus a little bit on the role of the eldest sibling in the families, right? So, if you saw a couple of episodes back, I actually had a sister here on the podcast, and we focused on a very similar topic, right? But from her perspective, this time he is actually the eldest out of four in his family. So can you start off by telling us a little bit about your childhood? I know it's probably like a really big question and there's a lot to cover, but what are some of the things that come up for you when you think about your childhood?
One of the things that sticks out in my mind about my childhood is the fact that there was not necessarily a lot of pressure put on me by my parents, but there was a lot expected. In terms, especially I always heard like you need to make sure you set a good example for your younger siblings, and so that has always stood out in my mind that like that's something that I had to self consciously now I have to be the leader. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one
Yeah.
of the things that I can think of right off the top of my head with being the eldest. Yeah.
The eldest, yeah. And that can get kind of heavy too, right? Because and it kind of lies in the messages that our parents tell us, right? Like, oh, pórtate bien, or qué tipo de ejemplo le vas a dar a tus hermanos.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this ever caused like any sort of stress growing up for you?
No, not necessarily. I think it did prepare me for the fact that I think I've always seen myself as somebody that's a little bit more mature than my peers. So it kind of it was a good thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a there was times where it was stressful, but for the most part, it was a good thing. I think I see it as a positive. Because now at work, like I've taken on a leadership role now that there's only one other teacher that's in my department that's been there longer than I have.
Oh wow.
And this is only my 6th year, so
Yeah.
it's definitely something that's helped me out.
Okay.
Overall.
Yeah. And I appreciate that too. I think something about you is that something that I've noticed about you is that even though maybe something may be perceived as something stressful or bad, like you tend to turn it into a positive thing, right? And so that's part of you, right? Trying to have a positive outlook on things too. Because I remember when we were testing, there was a lot of hiccups for us, like a lot of things that would kind of go wrong, I guess. And then I remember you kind of always, hey, like, let's not worry about it. Like, why are we going to stress about it? Yeah.
And it's funny. I laugh because it's funny because some of my coworkers now they're like, "Oh, we like coming to you because you're the one that's calm and takes the."
Yeah.
I'm like, there's more important things that we need to worry about when
Yeah.
they're more stressful that really have an impact on our lives, and sometimes we just gotta take a step back and just relax and kind of do what's there.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. That's good. I think that's like a very good way of looking at things, like in your professional life and your personal life too. Especially in education, I've noticed that like students tend to react differently to educators who are always on edge, who are always very anxious, who are always very stressed out. I don't know if you've noticed that, versus teachers who are more calm and even their tone of voice is more relaxed. I think like that projects to students as well, and you can create a more safer environment for them too. So that's good. Um, has there ever been a time where maybe something really difficult happening like within your family that maybe you felt like, well, I need to pass the throne to one of my siblings because right now I can't deal with it?
When my dad passed away, I could have taken that role, but I kind of, my brother, because my brother Esteban,
Yeah.
he's been on here too. He kind of took the lead on that, and so he kind of took it away from me. But it was a time that I can definitely say that I just took it back and kind of let him deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely could have. I did take charge of some stuff, but for the most part, he took the lead on that one that time. So.
What do you think happened in you that made you realize like, nope, like this is not something that I like right now. It's not the time to be like the eldest sibling and take on the responsibility, or kind of hold that like strong role. Like what was it for you?
I think it was more just him taking. He just jumped on it and didn't give me a chance to like be the older brother. So, but yeah, I don't necessarily see it as something that like I couldn't have taken it on, but he just kind of beat me to it.
Yeah.
And it's more that the case. So.
Yeah. I know, yeah, and I will say for me too, like I'm not the oldest in my family, but I am the oldest female in the family, and I feel like I've held kind of a similar role too because of some of my older siblings, right? The oldest hasn't made the wisest decisions, right? So I feel like it kind of trickled down to me as well. But sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to be the strong one this time. Like I pass it on to you today, and that's okay.
And others, I mean, when my grandparents have, I have, but just I don't know, just this time with my dad, it was just he took the lead, and that's how it worked out.
Yeah, and it worked out too. And do you think that gave you time to maybe grieve as well?
One thing about death, you never stop grieving.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't understand that I do now, but that's one thing you definitely never stop. It's always there. There's times where anything can bring it up.
Yeah. It's kind of like this, right? Like a wave too. Yeah.
Every little thing, every little accomplishment, you're like, okay, there's something that's not here anymore.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's very, very meaningful. What do you like? What are some of the things that stand out for you in your childhood? Like, what are some of your favorite memories as a family?
Just being together. Sundays it was. I remember growing up. Sundays it was. We would. I kind of gotten away from going to church and stuff, but Sundays, every Sunday was like pretty much every Sunday. Every other Sunday we would go to church, and then my dad would take us up to Salinas and go to the what's it called, the La Pulga.
Oh yeah.
In Salinas, and then go out to eat, and that was our Sundays.
Yeah.
And it was something we would look forward to, and I know some people. It was funny because my dad would be the one that would tell my mom, "Dad, I left it. I'll take care of the kids. I'll feed them and everything, and I'll get them ready, and then I'll take off." And you don't see that in our community a lot with that.
No, you don't. Yeah.
So that was one. He set a good example from that stance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. No, you're absolutely right. I don't think you're that's not very common.
No.
I don't think I recall my dad ever really doing that for my mom. Not that he's a bad dad or anything like that, but like I think that makes a huge difference.
It's just ingrained. I think it's just ingrained in the community. Like this is what you're supposed to be, and he said no. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So he would get grief from some of the other relatives and stuff. I think the one uncle in particular, but he didn't care.
He didn't care. That's good. He stuck to what he thought was right too. So that's awesome. Yeah, and your dad was a really good man and a really good singer too. That's something that stands out for me as well. That's a nice memory. Going to Sunday, right? Going to Salinas too, and it's interesting, right? Because during that time, that felt like a vacation. Like just going to Salinas, even going to McDonald's was a treat,
We had a couple spots in Salinas where we would go. Pollo Dorado in Salinas, and then there was another. What was the name of the place? Guero or something like that. On San Juan, it was pretty close to where.
Yeah.
I think it's still there.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Have you gone
back? I haven't been there in a while. I haven't been there. It's been years.
Yeah. Do you remember other places they used to go to?
Honestly, it was like those were the three places we would go to.
Yeah, that stand out to you the most.
It wasn't until after college that we started expanding. Like we would go to the hometown buffet.
Oh yeah.
And then we started going to other little restaurants, and we were the ones that eventually like, okay, it's not just these 2-3 little spaces. Places we're gonna go. We're gonna somewhere else. So.
There's more to Salinas and this. For us it was China Garden on North Main Street. We would always go there. Excuse me, and then we would go to Food Max to go grocery shopping. because my dad liked that specific milk, like from nowhere else, just from Food Max.
It's funny how that, yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get that. I totally get that.
I'm like, we have to
Yeah.
drive all the way to Salinas for milk, but yeah. And then we would stop, and on our way out, we would always stop by. Do you remember that Hostess, like the Wonder store where they used to sell the Wonder
Oh,
Bread?
yeah.
Yeah.
April tells me, oh, when we used to go, everybody, in her house, everybody would get their own treat.
Yeah.
And my dad said, what do you guys want? And you just get a bunch of stuff.
Get a bunch of stuff, huh? The little
So-
the assorted donuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were good.
Oh, yeah.
Did you and your siblings have good relationships growing up?
I mean, I think it's like anybody, any
Yeah.
other siblings. I mean, we bicker and we tease each other, we make fun
Yeah.
of each other. But I think me and Estelle, I think are the ones that butt heads the most. But I mean, he's still my brother. I still
Yeah.
love him. He's still.
Yeah.
I'm there for him. So.
Yeah.
But definitely, there's. I mean, we have the typical. We're pretty close, I think.
Yeah. You guys are still really close too. So,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna take a big leap, right? But from going from your childhood to like your school years and all that too. Something about Octavio is that he went to school in Los Angeles. He attended UCLA. So I asked this question to your sister too. But how was it for you? How was the process for you going from a small town to going to a big city and having to relocate to UCLA? Like, did you have any hesitations, or was it an easy process for you?
Funny story with that. I didn't think I was gonna go to UCLA. I applied as one of my professors at Harnell, Professor Riley, that told me one time I went to talk to her about a project, and she goes, me and a classmate, she goes, you guys are UC material. And so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like,
Yeah.
I mean, when it came time to actually apply, did I really think I was gonna get into UCLA? I didn't. It was my dream school. And so, when the process was of actually going, I was already had my thinking was I'm going to San Jose State. I hadn't even heard back from UCLA or anything. I never got a letter, and so I had already gone to orientation and everything.
Yeah.
And on April 27th, I won't forget the date, 2005, I got an email talking about financial aid. And I'm like, financial aid from UCLA? Like, I haven't even heard from them, so I'm on the phone and I'm calling. I'm like, I'm getting this information and I haven't gotten it. They're like, oh, well, we don't know what happened, but go here. And sure enough, there was my acceptance letter, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what, it got lost in the mail or I don't know what. But it was a no doubter for me. That was my dream school. I've been dreaming of going there since I was in 7th grade. So there was no hesitation on my end. Flipped the script when I was actually there the first semester. I was taking a course that I probably shouldn't have been on. It's probably more of a graduate level course, and I almost dropped out. I was struggling during my midterms. In October. No, it wasn't October. It was like close to December, and I was seriously contemplating. I think it all hit me that course was tough, and then being so far away from home and being on my own, I contemplated but then I was like, no, I worked too hard for this, so I gotta see it through. I mean, I was living on my own. I was having to deal with everything. So I was just I think it just all hit me at once, and I was like, no, I think I'll make it through.
Yeah.
I ended up dropping that course. I didn't take that. I didn't finish that course, but you learn.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. From starting from not officially getting, or somehow it got lost in the mail, right? That letter.
I still don't know what.
Yeah, but the financial aid letter made it, and that was a good thing that made it too. From being taking a class that you were not supposed to be taking in the first place too. So I can see why. Right, that's kind of adding another layer of like frustration. What do you like? How do you think or what do you think helped you build so much resilience and like perseverance?
I think going back to being the oldest, there was always a little, not pressure, but there was an expectation of you to set the precedence for everybody else in the family. So I think that was it. And then the other thing is that for my mom's side of the family, I'm closer to that side of the family. I'm the oldest one here on this side in the U.S. So I kind of took on an older sibling role with them too. So I think all of that helped me get to
Mm-hmm.
where I'm at. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it seems like that's something that, when you encounter like a challenge or a moment of difficulty, you always kind of think back and
Mm-hmm.
reflect on,
Mm-hmm.
well, it took this much to get here, right? I got to keep pushing.
There was a lot expected from me, and then there was a lot like, especially when letters came in the mail that were in
Mm-hmm.
English, and there was nobody
Yeah.
else in the house to translate to this day. I mean, I don't live with my mom anymore, my siblings, but before I left, I was still looking at paperwork and telling my mom, "Oh,
Mm.
this is it.
Yeah.
This is what this is for," and
Yeah.
so that I think all of that like helped build that resiliency that I needed
Yeah.
for it.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, being like inheriting that role that sometimes we didn't really ask for, but it just
Mm-hmm.
kind of happened to
Yeah.
land on your lap. But it taught you something, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Mm-hmm.
helping you through life, personally and professionally too.
Mm-hmm.
Does that still happen now where your mom calls you and she's like, hey, I got this, or is she leaning more on your
I
other
think
siblings?
I think now that I'm no longer home, I think that's why Nami's a little frustrated sometimes, is because I think it's that has fallen on her lap.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I
Yeah.
see it from her sometimes, but I think that's what um, everything that I used to take on, she has to take on now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And Remy is
yeah.
the third, right? She's the
Mm-hmm.
third oldest too. Okay. But she's
I'm
still
sure the other two help, but definitely like the majority of it falls on her.
on her too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think this is an area that I think I can relate to too with you, because not too long ago we moved. I mean, you've been out of your house before, right? But this time it's like for good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with the idea that we're not gonna go back, right? When you're at college, well, maybe I'm gonna stay here, but maybe I'm gonna go back and work in my community. Um, how was it for you moving out this way, right? Now that you're married, um,
Um,
was
I
it
think
sadder for you? Like, cause for me it was
no.
hella sad.
Yeah.
I cried the whole way to
I
here, and I also avoided. Like, I tried to delay it as much as I could. So I
yes.
talked about it in my episode, right? Efrain was like, he's like, hey, like, when are you gonna move? When are you gonna move in? And I said, oh, almost. Like, I'm almost done, like packing my stuff. But I knew in my head that I was delaying the process because I wasn't like fully emotionally ready.
Yeah.
But oh, pues, you know.
I definitely agree with that. I wasn't completely ready,
Yeah.
but I think, like you said, being away from home for almost 2 years kind of helped a little bit.
Mm.
And knowing this time that it was pretty much gonna be for good.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, it's just temporary. I think I knew when I went to LA that I was gonna come back,
Mm-hmm.
and I was gonna come back. I wanted to settle back here home.
Yeah.
This is home to me.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to settle here. Um, but now I love our little house.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old little house, which by the way,
Which I have not been invited to yet.
Yes, you have.
Well, I have been invited, but not like we have shown up, but nobody answered the door.
I'm not gonna say what I was doing,
Yeah,
but
we'll skip that part.
yeah. No, but yeah. Now I like I said, I love what we have, what we put together, but I know it's not something that's temporary. It's something that it's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah,
And we
it's a
have
positive thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to move on. And I think I think it's I don't see my mom as often anymore, but it's definitely every time I see her, it's a little bit. Our relationship's definitely improved.
Yeah.
We always used to bicker at each other, so it's
Yeah.
gotten a lot better. So
Uh-huh. Yeah. When I have friends who are kind of in the process of moving out or just relocating right away from their home, I ask them like, if how's your relationship now with your mom or your dad, right? And a lot of the times it's not good, right? Because you have two adults living in the same house with different personalities, and you're bound to bicker, you're bound
Yeah.
to argue or whatever. And that was the case with my mom too. As much as I love my mom and I missed her a lot when I moved out, like it helped our relationship out so much. So now when we see each other, like
distance from each other.
yeah, yeah, and it's like it's healthy space actually, right? But for you, like, mm, how has it been for you placing boundaries? Because for me, it's still a process for me. Like I'm still working on that. Is that an issue or no?
No, because I think my mom understands where I stand.
Okay. Yeah.
We've had conversations in the past. And I think there was a funny story. What was she trying to tell me? I can't remember it. It wasn't too long ago where she's oh, you shouldn't do this, and then she stopped herself.
Oh yeah.
Like mid, she was gonna say like, she's like, oh, this is not my house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's
Yeah.
like, no, this is your house. So I think it's helped us, and she realizes that like that's my house, and I mean she's welcome to come to my house, but yeah, it's still
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah. It's yours, so it's,
Yeah.
this is my space too.
They don't come over very often. My in-laws do, and that's a different story.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. For me, you know what? I don't know. Maybe because, well, it's not like Efrain's parents or my in-laws can come because they live far away. But yeah, it's usually my family coming as well too. But I've learned to always kind of check in with it with Efrain too, because you know it's our space, right? It's not just my space; it's both of our space as well. And I ask them, I say, hey, like my brothers want to come over later. Like, is it okay? I know they were just here yesterday, but then I also have to be mindful of that too. Like, wait a minute, they're here back to back. No, I think it's maybe next weekend.
I think it's fine for the visits. It's just there's other things that go on that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's for another episode.
Hopefully you don't see this. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, uncensored.
Yeah. No, and April knows. I mean, we talked about
Yeah.
it. And like things get moved, and I'm like, hey, where's my stuff?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We gotta respect people's homes, people.
I mean, we used to tease my dad because my dad would move stuff in the garage, and where'd you leave this? Oh, no, say no. Good. Then nobody can get that out of you. Then it's a good secret, top secret.
Yeah, there you
get that
go.
out of you. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's
that type of deal. So.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, let me ask you this, right? As we start kind of wrapping things up, what is like a piece of advice that maybe your mom or your dad have told you once that you really appreciated? Something that maybe they've told you that really kind of.
I think it's just like I said earlier. It's just the whole. I think it set me up for where I'm at now. That leadership role that I usually have to take on is that. They told me, hey, you're the oldest. You have to kind of take this. It's and my mom's the oldest in her family too.
Oh.
So she kind of passed it along too. And April does tell me, you're the female version of your mom. I'm the oldest too. She was the oldest.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that just kind of, she put what was put on her. She kind of transferred it over to
you.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting, right? Yeah, how things get passed on from generations. And that's interesting that she noticed that too.
Yeah.
So
she always tells me that you're if I let you know.
Yeah.
I'm my mother's child, like what can I say?
Yeah. Are you a mama's boy?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't think so, but
no, I don't think you are.
I don't think I am.
Is that Esteban? No, maybe that's your
I think it's more Osvaldo than it is. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last thing for you is it's a new year, right? So happy New Year. Do you have any plans, any goals, anything that you are?
One of the things that's on my bucket list is that I haven't returned to my hometown in Mexico in it's almost 26 years.
Wow.
I haven't been back since '98. I've been to Mexico twice, but just to Tijuana.
Okay.
To the airport, just
to the airport, yeah.
What, a couple weeks ago?
Oh.
A few weeks back to pick up Esteban and my mom and me. But and the last time we were there was for the same thing to bring from Esteban and my mom from the airport. But I haven't been back to my hometown since '98.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this year, either hopefully in July or if not in December, I'll go back. So.
Hopefully you
definitely not that I don't want to. It's just I haven't been able to.
You haven't been able to. Yeah. Well, something that someone told me is that if you do plan to go in December, like March is a really good time to start looking at tickets. So that's what I'm gonna do. I really missed not going this last year. Like, there's just something about being there, like where you're actually able to fully disconnect. Yeah. Maybe because you don't have good signal, right? But you're actually present, you know. So if you go, maybe we can all visit each other too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I only plan if I do go, it's only for a week, maybe 2 tops.
Yeah, that's a good enough time. Yeah. April will like it.
She doesn't want to go.
Oh, so, April, if you're listening to this, you're gonna go.
If I go, it's probably. The thing is, like I told my mom, like, why am I'll go by myself just for the simple fact that I want to go visit.
Yeah.
and then two, why am I gonna force her to go and then both of us are miserable?
Oh,
so I don't want to take that chance.
Yeah.
I'll ask her again, but
yeah, one more time.
Yeah, I've already looked into tickets too for if I go, and it's not that bad from Ambolaris from San Jose.
San Jose.
To direct.
Yeah, direct flight. Yeah, it's like what 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's not too
Something
bad.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, a friend said the same thing. He didn't want to go first time, and now he's like, "Are we gonna go this year or what?" So there you go.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Other than that, I mean, just. I think that's it. That's all I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep working. Yeah. And you, so he's a teacher. I don't know if you mentioned that too, right?
No, I didn't mention that. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? Like what you're working on right now? What are you up to?
I am teaching 8th grade English at the middle school here at Vista Verde, just right down the street. I've been there. This is my 6th year, so I'm pretty set. I don't know where I'm at. I teach English, and also I teach English language development, which is my expertise in the LPAC cell department helped me out a lot of my jobs. So 'cause I'm preparing my students for that. So
yeah. That's awesome. And then are you still coaching or involved with the Little League?
I am. I'm actually just before we started talking, I was when I got here, I got a message from somebody that was trying to sign up because we have our registrations going on right now.
Wow.
So today's the last day for that. So if anybody wants to see this before tonight, we still have registration. So
yeah,
we'll have that going.
And that's busy season for you guys too, right? You guys are really busy. Yeah. And that takes you up until what month? Right
up until July.
Oh yeah.
First week in July.
Yeah. So like half a year. Wow.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a period of a break for us. There's still potentially activity going on right up until that point, but right up until like Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome that you're able to manage all of those things on top of being a dog dad to 3 dogs too. Yeah. Two puppies and my little short Shotzi. Yeah. I was gonna say Shotzi. My little Shotzi. She's the one that growing up we never had pets. But she was given to us by one of our other Little League board members. Yeah. And so after a week, I'm like, I'm never gonna be the type of person that's gonna have a dog in the house or a pet in the house. I got that. So not even a year later, and I had 3. Yeah, I know. Wow. Yeah. Things change. I actually saw you one day walking one of the dogs. I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, look at it. That's my Shotzi. That one. She's just. There's been a special bond with me. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. She tricked us into thinking that they were all gonna be that easy to maintain, and it's not. No, the puppies are definitely a lot of work. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, I'm very proud of you and all the work that you have accomplished, and I'm really happy to say that we're still in each other's lives. I know I've said this to you, but I have to thank you for kind of setting the standard for us in our friendship and saying, hey, I'm gonna do my master's, and I was one of these like I can't let her be the only one. I can't be the only one with the master's in this group. Yeah. That definitely motivated me to go after mine. Oh, that's awesome. So, I didn't know that. Well, I'm glad that I inspired you, yes. And if you go for that doctorate, I will. We'll see. Yeah. I know April wants me to, but between me and you. She can't force me. No, she does want me to. And I thought about it, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting older. I'm getting up there in years, so I don't know if I want to. Yeah. I don't know if I have the brain capacity anymore to. Well. Yeah. You never know. That might change, right? So, all right. Well, thank you again for being here and thank you for inviting me. Yeah, for sure. Thank you for making it out here. Hopefully, you all enjoyed today's episode. Give this episode a like, share it with anybody who might resonate and connect. Be the oldest sibling in their family as well. And thank you all for being here. Until next time. Bye.